Welcome to Crystal Clarity, a simple and quick process to uncover your core desires and beat procrastination, confusion, and self-sabotage. So let me ask you this. You wouldn't start out on a trip without knowing where and how to get where you want to go, right? So why would you spend the better part of your life, which is obviously more important than any single trip, consumed with activity day after day without complete clarity on what, why, where, and how to get what you truly want in life? So in the videos that lay ahead, I'm going to show you a simple 7-step process that will help you to find what you truly want. Now, maybe that's a little odd to hear, right? I mean, some people might be saying, well, of course I know what I want. I want to make more money, promotion at work. I want my business to be more successful. I want to be more healthy. I want to spend more time with my kids, so on and so forth, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to actually drill down and find the motivation that is behind the surface of our goals. We're also going to identify what would help us to reach our goals and look at the obstacles that could potentially stop us or slow us down. A bit of background about me and how this course came about. My name is Ken Wells. I have no traditional credentials of any kind. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist, a therapist. I don't have any letters after my name. As a matter of fact, I barely graduated from high school. I think my psychology teacher actually changed my grade a few days before graduation so I could walk the stage, as a matter of fact. I also had many disadvantages starting out, but luckily I had and still have a willingness and curiosity to learn new things along the way. So all I have to offer you is what has worked for me and for countless others that I've coached through this process. The short version of my story basically goes like this. Shortly after graduation, I was kicked out of my mother's house and I was living in my car delivering pizzas to make my car payment and try to support myself. I started to get really into personal development books. Sleeping in your car in a church parking lot will do that to you. And soon after became a salesperson for a car warranty company. I did well and ultimately moved on to other sales positions and ultimately into corporate sales. But somewhere along the way, I started to drift off track and ultimately wound up so far off path that I found myself addicted to drugs, facing legal problems, severely in debt. I was essentially unemployable, deeply depressed, and I had alienated myself from literally all my friends, but maybe the wrong kind of friends, and almost all of my family. And I wanted to kill myself. I had to make a change. So I was literally forced to take a real deep look at what was going on with me. I got involved in AA and I relied on that program for the first couple years of my sobriety. But what I also did was I dove right back into the personal development material that had fascinated me when I was in my late teens and early 20s. I mean, I really got back into it. I experimented extensively with the ideas I was revisiting. And at this point, I have spent well over 10,000 hours studying the possibilities of human potential. I've read over 1,000 books related to personal development, and I've watched and listened to literally thousands of hours of audio and video on the subject. And part of that is because it's just, honestly, it's a passion of mine. I mean, I'm deeply interested in the subject, but I also really wanted to understand how I could turn my life around. And truthfully, much of the stuff that I heard after a while did start to sound, much of it sounds the same, and most of it doesn't strike deep enough. I mean, take for example a quote, if you can believe, you can achieve, that we've all heard in some form or fashion for years. It's a great idea and it's profound, but like most of the books I was reading, it didn't tell you how to actually change your beliefs. So it's a cute idea. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. Well, great. I'm stuck with all these shitty beliefs. Excuse my language. But anyways, and that was really the problem that I found repeatedly. They would tell you the what, but not the how. Or if they would tell you the how. It was kind of like, step 1, build a house. Step 2, walk through the door. However, not everything that I was learning was so shallow. And to be fair, almost every book that I read offered some sort of value. The most interesting and powerful things I was learning really came out of NLP. Hypnosis was deeply fascinating. Things I was learning there. Consciousness related studies, esoteric, some modern psychology stuff was kind of interesting. I read a lot in philosophy, mind-body medicine, medicine, and some very interesting things I learned out of ancient spiritual texts as well. And after a while, I started to find some really powerful tools, most of which was not very accessible due to the highly technical way it was presented, and much of it was from books that had been sitting on my shelves for years, funny enough. So when I truly realized that transforming my life was a matter of transforming my perception of myself and my relationship to everything else, I started to see everything changing around me. And as my perception changed, new behaviors, new thoughts, new feelings started to occur naturally. I found myself easily motivated, whereas before I would struggle to stay motivated to achieve my goals, and that's really the basis of this program is clarity, motivation, and there's some other things we'll talk about as well. But I literally transformed everything in my life. I overcame my addictions. I went from broke to abundant financially. I repaired my relationships. And most importantly, I was able to find a real happiness and peace and contentment within myself, regardless of circumstance. Obviously, all this didn't happen overnight. It was over the course of several years. But eventually, people around me started asking me for advice on various issues like self-esteem, relationships, business. And I noticed I had a real knack for helping other people begin to have the breakthroughs that I was having. As a matter of fact, the foundation for this 7-step process that we're going to go over came about while helping someone with a career issue that they were having. Anyways, I think you'll find that this course, along with other future programs I release, to be highly actionable, straightforward, and effective. Thanks again for giving this program a sincere shot, and I'll see you in the next video. So what's the big idea here? Well, as I've already started alluding to, the big main idea here is that most people have no goals at all, and the ones that do don't examine their goals very carefully before they spend their lives trying to attain them. And as you'll find as you go through the rest of this course, there are certain aspects of goals that, when we become aware of them, are incredibly motivating. And when you connect with those parts of your desires, you'll find yourself motivated to move forward and take action towards your goals naturally without having to, try and motivate yourself. Who hasn't struggled to find motivation to work on a goal? We all have. Have you ever wondered why you would be struggling to be motivated to achieve something that you want? It's because you're not aligned with the key core desires behind your goals. So without getting too deep or technical, let's simply put it like this. There's a surface structure of our goals, like being thin or making money, and there's a deeper structure to our goals that we often aren't aware of. Now, this deeper structure is what our goals ultimately mean to us. So for example, let's say that someone had a goal of, they wanted to lose 10 pounds, okay? So that would be the surface structure. But if they drilled down, they might find that one reason they want to be thinner is because they want to feel confident when they go to the beach. So that would be the deeper structure of their goal. The problem is that these surface goals and surface structure of our goals don't always satisfy our real core desires. And that's one of the reasons why people self-sabotage and procrastinate, because they aren't aligned with their core desires. And this is also the secret to taking massive action towards your goals. What keeps people unmotivated is to keep trudging away without connecting with what we really want, the core desires behind our goals. When you really connect with those core desires and understand the meaning behind your goals, everything else falls into place. Personally, I find that most traditional goal setting practices fall short. They have you map out the specifics, but they don't dive deep enough to really connect with those core desires. And oftentimes the end result is a well mapped out plan that someone doesn't take action on. I know that I really used to struggle with feeling like I had a lack of direction. I would read in books and hear people telling me that I need to have a clear, definite purpose, and I need to have a focus and all this type of stuff. But frankly, that always confused me. I just couldn't tell what that was for me. I also couldn't make up my mind. I thought that meant that you had to pick one thing to focus on for your entire life. And luckily I was wrong. You just need to find a clear goal that you want right now. So in step 1, we're going to start with a goal. In steps 2 and 3, we're going to start looking at what those goals really mean to us. In steps 4 and 5, we're going to start to identify what would dramatically help us to achieve our goals. And then finally, in steps 6 and 7, we will be looking at the key obstacles to achieving your goal and to designing your own lifestyle. Also, in step 6, there's a basic method that will allow you to begin to convert the obstacles and limitations that you find into strengths. Ultimately, in my view, the purpose of all goals is personal development. It's not about the thing that we get, like making more money or having a more attractive body. It's about who we become in the process of bringing those dreams to life. So let's get excited. Join me in the next video. Okay, so we're going to quickly discuss the best way to do the 7 steps to ensure that you get the greatest results from the process. So this course consists of 7 steps, 1 step per video. Do the steps in order, one at a time, while going through the video lecture. There will be instructions for each step contained within each video, and the importance and meaning of each step will be further explained along the way. So the first thing you're going to want to do is grab your laptop or iPad, or you can sit at your computer and then download and print out the attachment, or grab a pen and paper. The attachment, it'll be in the course download section, so go ahead and do that. The next thing you're going to want to do is find a place where you will be alone and undisturbed for at least 30 minutes. An hour is ideal, and the process usually only takes about 20 to 30 minutes, but give yourself plenty of time. It's really best to do all the steps in one sitting. Next, I strongly suggest that if you're a meditator, either meditate or at the very least sit quietly and comfortably and breathe deeply and get relaxed before you begin. And the next thing is, don't censor yourself or overanalyze. This is really important. Just do the steps honestly and write down what comes to mind without overanalyzing or judging what you're putting down. Just put down the first thing that comes to mind as you do these steps. Okay, join me in the next video and let's get started. Okay, let's get started. So pull out your piece of paper and your pen, or open a Word doc or whatever you want to do. And what you're going to do is simply write down one outcome you want right now. Okay? So let's look at, if you look at the examples I have below, I put 2 examples down, and these are the 2 examples that we're going to be using throughout the entire course. One of them, it has to do with money. The other one has to do with confidence. So I tried to do more of a concrete goal, and then also show you what a intangible goal would look like as well. So in the first example, this person wrote down, make more money. Okay, so you can just write down little sentence fragments. It could be more confident. It could be make more money. It could be get smarter. I mean, it doesn't matter. You just write down the first thing that comes to mind. So if you need to pause the recording, write down something, the first thing that comes to mind that you want right now. Okay, I'm going to assume you have that done. So again, now what you want to do is, if you look at the second bullet point, is you want to make it specific. Okay, so like in the first example there, the person wrote down make more money. So and then in parentheses, they made it specific, as in, what does that mean? $10,000 a month. If you look at example number 2 on the bottom there, the person started with be more confident. Then once they made it specific, they wrote down give speech in front of a group of people. The reason why you want to make it specific is you need some sort of clear benchmark to tell you when you've achieved your goal. You need a clear understanding of if and when you've actually achieved your goal. Okay? So once you've made it specific, that's pretty much it. Again, keep it simple. Don't overthink this process. Just write it down. Don't aim too low or too high to start. Okay, what do I mean by that? So let's again look at that first example. This person says they want to make $10,000 a month. Okay, now if they've always only made, $500 a month, and then all of a sudden their goal is $10,000 a month, to me that would be shooting a little too high to start. So you want to think in terms of the next stage of progression forward. So you want a goal that is motivating and enticing, but it's not like you just go, I want $1 million a month if, you're used to making $2,500 a month, if that makes sense. So if you're making $5,000 a month, $7,000 a month, $10,000 a month would be reasonable, I think. Okay. So once you have that down, so to complete the exercise for this step, all you need is you start with some sort of just whatever comes to mind, and then you make it specific. Once you've done that, join me in the video titled Step 2. Okay, Step 2. So now you got your answers from Step 1. Now ask yourself this: how would the outcome positively change your life? Write down only 3 positive effects of achieving your outcome. Again, keep your answers short as indicated in the examples on the next slide. The only wrong answers here are the ones that are not completely honest. Okay? So just come up with the first 3 things that come to mind. So for example, in the example for make more money, this person wants to earn $10,000 more per month. 3 positive effects might be 1, money to invest, 2, take a trip to Egypt, 3, peace of mind. In the example for be more confident, this person, their idea of being more confident is, being able to give a speech in front of a group of people. Fantastic. So their positive effects are as follows. They put, allow me to go outside my comfort zone, be more comfortable with people, increased self-confidence or pride. Again, the focus here is to simply write down what comes to mind without overthinking or censoring yourself. Limit yourself for now to just writing 3 effects. At this point, some interesting things begin to emerge. So let's take a look at example number 1. The 3rd positive effect listed is peace of mind. This is quite interesting because in this example, peace of mind is tied to an increase in money. So what happens if money decreases? Well, naturally, a decrease in peace of mind. If peace of mind is really what someone is after, tying it to money is not a good idea for obvious reasons, mainly because money is unstable. It can come and go. More importantly, peace of mind can easily be attained without money, and by focusing on creating peace of mind first, this person would be in a much stronger position to actually achieve the income goal. Sadly, someone could actually achieve their income goal and still not achieve the peace of mind they were after. This program is all about clarity. I have went through this same process multiple times, and I'm always very surprised at what I discover. So as soon as you have 3 positive effects listed for your outcome, go ahead and go to the video titled Step 3, and I'll meet you there. Okay, so now we're on Step 3. This is where things get increasingly interesting. All right, so now what you're going to do is you're going to answer this question. How will you know when you achieve your outcome? What will you see, hear, and feel? Write down 2 to 3 things you will see, 2 to 3 things you will hear, and 2 or 3 things you would feel when you achieve your outcome. So to make this more clear, let me show you what I mean exactly in these examples. Okay. So again, using the example, make more money, $10K a month. Okay. This person puts down, they would see large deposits on their bank statement. Okay. Again, the question is, how will you know when you achieve your outcome? What are you going to see? Okay. So now you're going to pretend that your outcome is already real, and you're going to imagine what you would see. Okay. They also put down, they would see a smile on their wife's face. They put down, see an increase in clients each month. Okay. Now we go on to hear. What are they going to hear when they achieve their outcome? They're going to hear their wife tell them how proud she is of them. Okay? They're going to hear their friends congratulate them on the success of their business. They're going to hear their clients telling them how satisfied they are with their service. Okay? What is he going to feel? He's going to feel confident, feel relaxed, feel excited. So again, that's how you go through this process, is you want to go ahead and write down the first things that come to mind in relation to your goal. Think long and hard about it. Okay? Go ahead and pause the video and then come back when you're done. I'm going to assume that you've either done the exercise or you're in the process of it. Let me go through some more examples. Okay. The other example that we've been going through here is the person put down, be more confident, give a speech in front of a group of people. So what is he going to see? He says he's going to see opportunities in the world. All right. Again, you've achieved the outcome. Now what do you see? He said he's going to see the world as mainly a good place. Interesting. See people reacting to him with respect. What is he going to hear? He's going to hear his friends tell him that he seems more confident. He's going to hear his boss tell him he likes his energy and boldness. He's going to hear the loud applause from the audience after his speech. Okay? What is he going to feel? He's going to feel exhilarated. He's going to feel excited. He's going to feel unstoppable. So again, the way that you do this portion of the exercise is you simply imagine yourself having already achieved your goal and start answering those questions. What are you going to see? Write down 2 or 3 things. What are you going to hear? What are you going to feel? Now, are you starting to see what's happening here? Okay, we're peeling back the onion a bit to give you additional clarity on what you truly want in life. You see, most of the time, what we think we want is only a thin veneer over our true desires. Most of us never take the time to examine what is really important to us. And so we spend our lives on autopilot, literally chasing things that will never satisfy us. Olympic athletes have often reported feeling completely deflated following winning the gold medal. Sure, they were ecstatic momentarily, but after that wears off, they have a deep sense of emptiness and find themselves asking, is this all there is? They had been so immersed in their goal that they never took the time to think about life beyond the gold medal. And sadly, some people have even committed suicide after achieving deeply desired goals. Ultimately, they didn't find what they thought they would once they achieve their goal. Then they project into the future and they think, well, what's the point? Socrates was quoted as saying, the unexamined life is not worth living for a human being. And I tend to agree with that completely. One of the times I went through these steps, my outcome was to earn a full-time income from selling my own books and coaching services so I could quit my job. When I got to this step, one of the things I could see was I could see myself having the ability to play basketball at a gym in the middle of the day. Now, it may not seem, very exciting to you, but in my imagination, when I looked up at the clock and I felt so excited that it was 2 p.m. on a Wednesday and I was able to do what I wanted. I felt completely free and motivated toward my outcome like I never had before. That's partially the value and the power of this process. If you follow through and give this a sincere effort, you can uncover what truly motivates you, which is often hidden little things like that. Another reason for this step is that it allows you to try on what life would be like having achieved the outcome that you think you want, to really get a sense of what's it like to experience that outcome firsthand. Some people find that they don't like what life would be like having achieved their initial outcome, and they make a new choice. Others find an increased sense of energy and motivation. Also, this gives you a chance to have definite signposts that will indicate that you're on the right track towards your income. As the example of the person earning $10,000 a month, when they start seeing large deposits in their account and they start seeing the smile on their wife's face, those are definite signposts that are going to further propel them towards their goal. Okay, some of these questions may seem a little strange, or they seem sort of, a non-traditional approach to, I wouldn't even really call it goal setting, just sort of goal or outcome analysis. And And there's a reason for that. I mean, the reality is that most people really never take the time to really think about things like this. And sadly, they find out that once they get to their outcome, that it wasn't like what they had hoped for. They didn't get what they were hoping to from it. So my philosophy is, not only is it going to give you more motivation to really get in tune with what you're really wanting right now, but again, if you just determine that once you really start thinking about what your life would be like once you've achieved your outcome, if it's not what, it doesn't start looking and feeling and sounding the way that you had hoped, or that you were kind of initially thinking, well, better to find that out now than after you waste all that time and effort. So once you have 2 to 3 things that you would see once your outcome is achieved, 2 to 3 things you would feel, or 2 to 3 things, and 2 to 3 things you would hear. Once you have that down, join me in step 4. Okay, now we're on step 4. So now the next question is, what would you have to do differently to achieve your outcome? List 3 skills, habits, or behaviors you would need to achieve your outcome. So in the example for make more money, the person put down organizational skills. They would need to focus and eliminate distractions. They put down prospect for more clients. Makes sense. In the second example of the person who wants to be more confident, they put down join Toastmasters. Makes sense. Study how to overcome the fear of public speaking. They also put down learn relaxation techniques. You see, the underlying assumption that this program and this step make is that you already have everything you need inside to achieve your goals. You already know how to achieve your goals. In other words, it's not as much about adding things to you as much as it is about eliciting and reorganizing what's already there. So I'd like to also show you something else here. Let's take stock of how far we've come so far. And we're going to use example 1, which was the make more money, the $10,000 a month. Okay. So if we put down everything this person has covered so far, this is what we have. They put down make more money, $10,000 a month. That would give them money to invest, trip to Egypt, peace of mind, see large deposits on my bank statement, see smile on wife's face, see an increase in clients each month, hear my wife hear my wife tell me how proud she is of me, hear my friends congratulate me on the success of my business, hear my clients telling me how satisfied they are with my service, feel confident, feel relaxed, feel excited, need organizational skills, need to focus and eliminate distractions. Okay, and then I forgot to put down the last one, which was prospect for more clients. So we're uncovering many facets of this outcome and coming up with a much more complete idea of what our outcome actually means to us. Okay, what is of particular interest is the 3 feelings mentioned: confidence, relaxation, and excitement. Okay, in this example, it would be a wise choice for this individual to focus on developing those feelings now rather than waiting until the outcome is achieved. Why wait? For the person in this example, these feelings are intimately connected with their outcome. So by focusing on developing these feelings now, not only does it put this person in a much better position to actually achieve their outcome, but these feelings are a major reason the person wants the outcome to begin with. Most people don't realize that they can create the feelings they want at will. They think they need something outside of themselves in order to have those feelings. The reality is that we're capable of creating any feelings we want without any external stimuli. I'm not saying it doesn't require some effort and practice, but it's far easier than most people think. I'm also not suggesting that there isn't any point in striving for external goals, because I think there is. The reality is the vast majority of us don't constructively use our minds or internal worlds intentionally. Again, most of us are living our lives on autopilot, reacting to everything. This flawed approach is what keeps us consumed with activity and constantly striving for more, but not necessarily finding more fulfillment in life experiences. The people that do use their creative faculties intentionally tend to stand out in human history. I mean, you'll be hard pressed to find a single major figure or professional athlete who doesn't have a highly developed internal world and have a strong control of their internal representations, their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. The point is that we can achieve our external goals better and enjoy the process more if we identify the underlying feelings and motivations behind those goals. If we then focus on generating those feelings now, we will be more satisfied and better equipped to actually get what we are truly after and be in a far better position to achieve the external goals that we're after as well. Now, I know that's kind of a lot to add on to this step, so I don't want you to get too bogged down for now, just to kind of give you a bigger picture of what's possible. Again, please check out my website, modernmindtech.com, for more information and other free tools and resources that can help you to further build out, the resources internally and externally that you need in order to achieve your goals. Okay, now we're on step 5. So the next question is, how would you have to be different to achieve your outcome? List 3 character traits that would help you to achieve your outcome. So the make more money example, this person puts down, they need to be more bold. They need to be more creative. They need to be more service oriented. Okay, let's look at the other example, the be more confident example. They said they need to have more willingness. They need to be more adventurous, and they need to be more brave. So go ahead right now, or at the end of this video, go ahead and write down 3 character traits that would help you to achieve your outcome. Now, the purpose of this step is to continue to identify resources that will help you achieve your outcome. It also provides additional clarity. So as we saw in example 1, the person put down bold, creative, and service-oriented. So this person is beginning to see that if they want to achieve their outcome, there are some shifts that need to take place. This step also helps to begin to evaluate if we want our outcome enough to be willing to make the shifts necessary to bring about its realization. So, my philosophy is pretty cut and dry. Either do it or don't do it. I'd much rather either become clear about my desire and willingness for an outcome and begin moving in the direction of its achievement, or decide I don't really want it enough to make those shifts and focus on something else. The worst place that you can be is on the fence. You've been around people like this before, talking about what they want, but taking no real action towards its achievement. Perhaps those people really don't want it in the first place, or they don't have the clarity to see what would motivate them to take action right now. And to be honest with you, if you are that person right now, please, for your own sake, stop it and make a new decision. Let's go on to step 6. Okay, now we're on step 6, coming to the final stretch here. So the next question is, what is stopping you from achieving your outcome now? List 3 to 5 things you think you lack and/or anxieties/fears related to your outcome. So let's look at the examples. This person puts down, don't know how to earn that much money. Doesn't seem realistic. Maybe my business won't grow. Okay, now let's look at the be more confident example. They put down, they're afraid of making a mistake. They're afraid of what people will think of them. They're really not sure how to be more confident. Now, this step provides tons of valuable information. First, we're able to begin to clearly see some key limiting beliefs that are holding us back. Our beliefs about ourselves and the rest of the world largely determine the limits of the results we get. Let me repeat that because it's very important. Our beliefs about ourselves and the rest of the world largely determine the limits of the results we get. So let's look at example number 2 for a moment, okay? So in example number 2, 2 key fears were identified: the fear of making a mistake and the fear of what people will think. In a matter of moments, this person has gained more insight into themselves than many people ever attain regarding their personal mental blocks. Both of these fears, while common, are both ludicrous when looked at carefully. Come on, who doesn't make mistakes? what control do you really have over what other people will think about you? And as a side note, obviously, this masks a deeper self-esteem issue as well. But the primary problem with overcoming challenges is lack of awareness. So many so-called issues simply dissolve when they're recognized and put into proper perspective. While we all intuitively know this to be true, until we take the time to examine the situation, actually put these types of fears and concerns and anxieties on paper, these types of fears are left smoldering beneath the surface. So in this example, the person could easily begin to realize that these fears are really not grounded in rational thought. One giant stride in the correct direction would then be to convert these fears into their polar opposites. So, for example, instead of being afraid of making a mistake, the person could make a new decision and begin to focus on being confident of their success. It all starts with a new decision. Well, let me slow down here because you may be thinking that this all sounds easier said than done, and I assure you it's not. I've helped plenty of other people and personally traded in plenty of fears quite easily and effectively with methods just like I'm about to describe. Instead of trying to overcome these fears, it's far more effective to focus on the positive opposite rather than trying to overcome and thereby reinforce what you do not want. Okay, so it's important to completely understand that these fears are not facts. They're just opinions, and ultimately, they're choices. So choose again. Rather than try and overcome, replace your fears with their opposites and then begin to ask yourself for reasons why the new opinion is true. You'll soon get plenty of evidence to support your new viewpoint if you do this thoroughly and sincerely. Okay? So to recap, in example 2, we said afraid of making a mistake. So first, we weaken that idea by putting it into perspective, i.e. recognizing that everybody makes mistakes and that mistakes to some extent are inevitable. Next, we ask ourselves what the opposite of that idea is. So the opposite would be something like having trust that you will deliver a good speech. As a side note, you could also ask yourself, what would give you that trust? That obviously can lead us to answers like, well, know the speech well, practice the speech, and again, learn relaxation techniques. At this point, we have clearly identified some obstacles that would need to be removed or changed in order for us to achieve our outcome. We then have the information necessary to evaluate whether we want our outcome strong enough to move forward. It's also important to point out that you would not necessarily need to work on each belief you uncover. In example 2, if you address the underlying trust and self-esteem issue, that would cover everything else since all of the reasons listed are symptomatic of the one central underlying perceived obstacle. Okay? I know that's a lot to kind of digest. Feel free to contact me with questions or post them. Please join me for the final step. Okay, we're on the final step, step 7. Write down 3 to 5 reasons why you haven't achieved your outcome yet. As with every other step we've done, don't overanalyze this. Just write down the first thing that comes to mind. Don't censor yourself, don't overthink it, don't think about it and then write it down. Don't think about it too much and worry about what you're putting down. Just if it comes to mind, put it on paper. Put 3 reasons. So here's the examples. This guy puts down, I don't have the right training. The economy's bad. I don't have enough energy. The person who wanted more confidence, what are their reasons why they haven't achieved their outcome yet? They put down, I'm shy. I just can't do it. I'm not charismatic. The purpose here is to continue to identify the things we think that are holding us back. Steps 6 and 7 tend to be very revealing. It can also sometimes be a tough pill to swallow when we realize that we're carrying around limiting ideas like these. We may have learned these ideas from someone else. However, at some point, we are the ones who continue to uphold these ideas. So we must take responsibility for them if we want to change. Without being aware of the beliefs we have, we can't exercise choice. The core purpose of these steps is to allow you to become aware so that you can make better choices and have a clear idea of what you are moving towards. I mean, if there's one central idea that I could leave you with, it's that your beliefs are choices. They're not facts. They're opinions about things. And oftentimes what happens is we have all this stuff inside. We'll just use the example that's on the screen right now. This guy says, well, I'm shy. I just can't do it. I'm not charismatic. Well, the way that he's actually making that determination is he's using past information, right? I mean, he must be, because he's in the present moment and he says, why haven't I achieved this outcome yet? And he says, well, and he looks at his past and he says, because I'm shy, because I just can't do it, which is really sort of a meaningless statement because we know he can do it. And he says, I'm not charismatic, okay? These are beliefs. These are values that we're placing on things. That doesn't mean that there's any reality to them. Of course, someone may have a history of being shy or being the opposite of charismatic, but the reality is that that's not who they are. They can make a new choice, but unless they're aware of these ideas that they're carrying around with them, they're not going to be able to make a different choice. Okay, now there's a lot of things that you can do that are sort of beyond the scope of this course in order to change certain things about you, okay, or certain ideas that you have. But again, the purpose of this program is to give you, again, a 360-degree orientation towards your outcome. And it's a process of self-discovery as well. When you go through this process, and hopefully this is how you're feeling right now, is that when you go through this thoroughly, it's a real eye-opener. I've never had anyone go through this with me or on their own and not feel much more clear about where they were headed in their life. I mean, before I did this process for the first time, I had clarity about what I wanted, but it was nothing compared to, I really got it after I did this process, and I'm hoping that you're feeling that way as well. So go ahead and join me in the next few videos here as we wrap up, and feel free to leave any questions or comments as well. Thank you. Okay, so first off, I want to thank you for coming this far with me. And I'd like to leave you with a few closing points so that you can get the most out of this program possible. So, the best part of this process is that it reflects how life actually is, which is dynamic and changing, not static. So the point is, going through this process in the future will provide you with different answers as you continue to grow and evolve. So I highly recommend that you use this process every month or two to revisit how you're feeling and how you're representing these goals to yourself. This short book is not meant by any means to be the end-all and be-all when it comes to personal development, but I do believe that it's a very strong starting point and is essential for those who want to efficiently achieve their goals. Always remember that if you are struggling to find motivation to achieve certain goals, then you are either striving to achieve the wrong goals or you're focused on the wrong aspect of a particular goal. So by using the steps I've outlined here, you'll be able to dig deeper and find out what motivates you effortlessly. Then, by revisiting and continuing to develop and evolve those ideas as you go, you'll be moving swiftly in the direction of your goals. Once you've identified what truly motivates you, keep it really simple. Just commit to taking one small step in the direction of your outcome every day. And you'll soon find that there's plenty of momentum that's going to carry you on to your goal. The reality is there's an almost infinite number of paths that can lead to achieving your outcome. So the key is to continue to search and refine until you find that which motivates you easily. When there's sufficient motivation, action follows rapidly and naturally. And after all, a life spent endlessly taking action with no clear outcome in mind, continually trying to muster up motivation to achieve things that we're not even sure why we want, is not a life at all. And as trite as it may sound, you must enjoy the journey along the way. So I want to thank you again for your attention and for going forward with this program. You can also go ahead and sign up for my email list to receive a free copy of this book that this program is based on, as well as tons of other cool stuff, updates on new releases of other programs that are coming down the pike. And you can do that by simply going to the link which is provided in this lecture, or you can visit my website, which is modernmindtech.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.